Now let's link up with our crew in Ekiti State, led by Amadin, Bernard Akede, and Niyi Omoni. This team is standing by to give us the latest developments in the state. Hello, guys.
Hello, Gbenga.
Nice to have you join us from Ekiti State. Amadin Uyi, can you give us a situation report of how things have panned out so far on the eve of the big elections?
Earlier, we were in the city center, Ado Ekiti, and we observed a very, very high presence of security personnel. In fact, we witnessed several patrol teams. We had heard that earlier there was a show of force by officers of the Nigeria Police, the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps, and also the Nigerian Army. But we saw several patrol teams at different intervals combing the streets of Ado Ekiti with their sirens, trying to make the residents know that the police and the security agencies are on ground. We also witnessed several checkpoints by the military. We observed that when we were coming into Ado Ekiti, there were several checkpoints by the military, and they were searching vehicles to ensure that thugs were not trying to import arms into the state capital.
Thank you very much, Amadin. I'm going to move to Niyi Omoni for updates on where he is. Good evening to you, Niyi. What's the mood like in Ado Ekiti? What are the locals saying? The people you've talked to, are they ready for these elections, or is there palpable tension in the air?
Okay, people are certainly ready to vote, and so far from our observation, no pocket of violence. Just like Amadin said, all we have noticed is heavy police presence. Before I joined the studio, I was trying to get the commander to speak with us, but apparently it's just settling into the capital, and of course, he will get to talk to us later. And earlier, or maybe later during the news, we'll also get to talk to the police force PRO, that's Muyiwa at the Jobi, to also shed more light. But previously, I spoke with him on the phone and was able to give us a little breakdown of what they've done so far. We also noticed a show of force on the roads that we've observed. He says something particularly, though. He mentioned that there will be nothing like ballot snatching because they're doing something unique this time around, that INEC has done what we call colored ballot boxing. That is, every ballot, we have 16 local government areas in Ekiti, and each local government has its own ballot coding in terms of coloring. And they said that will make it easier to identify if a ballot was snatched from one particular local government to another particular local government. And they said a lot of security presence has been deployed. Also, where we're coming from, the NSCDC, the LNSC, every security operative you can think of is currently on ground. Probably before the news ends, we'll get the police force PPRO to talk with us and give more light.
Thank you very much, Niyi Omoni. We'll definitely keep in touch with you in Ekiti. We also have Bernard Akede on standby in Ekiti State. So, Bernard, earlier I spoke to Amadin and Niyi, and they told me about the strong presence of security operatives to forestall any breakdown of law and order. How do we expect these elections to pan out? I know that there are 16 elections will be held in 16 local government areas. When should we be expecting the announcement of the results?
Well, Niyi, honestly, I believe that with what we've seen so far today, I would expect that everything, like they say, if everything goes smoothly, all other things being equal, by the end late on Saturday or at the latest early on Sunday, the results should be out. But of course, I can't read the future. This is hoping that nothing goes wrong. But based on everything that we've seen, the level of preparedness by security operatives, and from what we've heard from INEC, that's Independent National Electoral Commission, everything should go smoothly. And if we are to, make any or place any judgment based on all of these, then definitely by late on Saturday, which is tomorrow evening, or at the latest early on Sunday morning, we should be getting results.
Now, staying with you, Bernard, what's the mood like in Ekiti State? Do you think we would witness high voter turnout, or the people are really not interested in the elections? Have you talked to any of the locals? What's the mood like?
Well, I'd like to hope that, voter apathy will be a thing that we will not be having to discuss, in this election, because there's been a lot of sensitization. And surprisingly, or should I say, interestingly, it's been for the women. So there have even been their radio jingles and TV commercials trying to sensitize voters to come out and cast their vote, especially the women.
Okay, I would like to go to Amadin Uyi. Now, Amadin, we've noticed, I mean, you're a veteran journalist and you've been covering elections for quite some time now. And one thing you would notice is the highly militarized nature of elections in Nigeria, especially when we have staggered elections like the one in Ekiti and the one coming up in Ekiti State. Why do you think we haven't grown so much in terms of our democracy? Why does there need to be a heavy military presence? Elections are a civil exercise. People are just going out to exercise their civic responsibility. Why do we have a show of force and such a high military presence? Amadin.
Now, Gbenga, over the years, we've had the word, if you talk about the word ballot box snatching, is a normal in Nigeria's electoral lexicon or electoral vocabulary. Unfortunately, it's something we have come to witness over the years, and we've come to accept as a people. But you see, this is why before elections, there is always this show of force by security operatives and security agencies trying to tell hoodlums and miscreants that, see, we're on ground in case you want to disrupt the elections, in case you want to cause or foment violence, we're on ground to be able to prevent you. Unfortunately, we have not mastered electronic voting where you can vote from the comfort of your home or from your office like is done in advanced countries. And we've not mastered that kind of technology to ensure that there's an ease by which people can vote. Right now, we still utilize the kind of voting process where everybody have to come and cast their ballots and they have to wait for the elections to be counted. That is why in the past, what thugs and miscreants used to do was they would try to come and disrupt the polls and snatch the ballot box to ensure that if their candidate is losing in that polling booth, they render the results null and void. But what we have seen, we also try to commend INEC because over the years, INEC has tried to improve technology thanks to the recently signed Electoral Act, which has allowed for electronic transmission of results. But before we get there, that position where advanced economies are, advanced countries are, we have to make the best of our situation. And the best right now is to deploy security operatives on the highways, on the corridors to ensure that during the voting process, that hoodlums do not have that ease to move from one location to another. So right now, we have to do with security operatives on ground, the military, the police, the Nigeria security and civil defense, because they also assure voters and the electorate that you can come and cast your vote without fear of being attacked. So it gives
a reassurance to the electorates that, look, we're covered in case of a breakdown in law and order. Thank you very much, Amadin. I'd like to come to Bernard before we let you guys go. Now, Bernard, it's a big election. Who are the leading candidates? And is it going to be a close call? What can you tell us from your own vantage point?
I can't hear you very clearly, Gbenga, but I think you're talking about the parties here.
Yes.
The major parties here, we have the PDP, that's the People Democratic Party, we have the APC, and then we have the SDP. These three parties are basically the parties that, that are slugging it out here in Ekiti State. It is still pretty close to call, I must confess. We know that in national level, we have the PDP and the APC being the two major parties, the ruling party and the opposition. But here, it is still really, really close to call. I'm having issues with the connection, Gbenga. I don't know if you can hear me. But it's still pretty close to call. All three parties have their own allegiances. They have their own support. So they're driving as much traction to themselves as they possibly can. So honestly, I can't exactly, I wouldn't stick my neck out right now to say who exactly would be or should be in leading position as at the moment. But come tomorrow, probably we will be able to make a suggestion after a few hours or to make some kind of guess or hypothesis after a few hours when we see the turnout eventually.
Okay, I'd like to say a big thank you to our crew in Ekiti State led by Amadin Uyi, Bernard Akede and Niyi Omoniyi. You guys have a very busy day tomorrow, so go catch some rest. It's going to be one long day tomorrow. Thank you very much for keeping us up to speed with events in Ekiti State.
Thank you, Gbenga.